Hello everyone. We're entering a new phase of lockdown with different challenges and adaptations to get used to. This will be my last short talk in this limited series, Living in Difficult Times, specifically aimed to help couples build their relationship during the stressors of being in lockdown together. I want to thank those who have positively commented on this series and the benefits that they have received. This has been of great personal encouragement to me. Thank you. Let me briefly recap the recommendations made in my first 4 talks. To keep your relationship spark flourishing, 3 small habits to nurture each day are: 1. Find something specific to affirm your spouse and to say thank you to him or her. We all thrive on encouragement, and what a big difference this will make to your spouse's day and how they perceive your interest in their lives to be. Don't wait for your spouse to affirm you first. Because your relationship is not based on quid pro quo or trade-off, how difficult can it be to inspire your loved partner? Be first. Go do it now. Secondly, make time for a meaningful touch to connect with your partner each day. A 1 to 2 minute hug, a special kiss, a hand on the shoulder, all demonstrate a deeply personal connection that says, "You are important to me and I love you." Thirdly, find something humorous to share with your spouse. A good laugh at something said, something read, something enjoyed together will reduce tension and help you both cope with the everyday stressors we have. Practice building these 3 behaviors into your daily relationship routine. They will soon evolve into positive habits, much like putting your car seatbelt on. You do this instinctively. These become relationship customs that not only fan the spark of this unique friendship with your loved one, but also builds the emotional love account with him or her that provides a sure way to divorce-proof your marriage. Again, start doing these right away. Don't wait for a marriage issue to push start this. Start and continue each day. The 4th talk in this limited series provided pointers for communication, highlighting the importance that active listening has in letting your partner know that you care about hearing how they feel, hearing their opinion without judging, belittling, or competing, all communication busters that guarantee defensiveness, justification, and a pulling away from one another. Another emotional love tool is the ability to empathize, trying to understand from your spouse's position. Empathy does not imply I agree with you. It does not mean that if I empathize, I will be seen as weak or that my position is weakened. It means that I am willing to put my agenda on the shelf and to try to see things the way my partner sees them. Remember, your spouse is not your enemy. If the 3 habits recommended in the first talks are in place on a daily basis, communication that is meaningful becomes so much easier. Please note, it is essential that all that I've said thus far today is up and running before this 5th and final step is put in place. Unfortunately, this is the step that often results in the most horrific marital tension and conflict, and the decision is then made, we need a referee. Let's see a marriage therapist to tell us who is the winner or who is right. I have some bad news for you. Marriage therapists are not referees. If you arrange an appointment with that as your purpose, you will soon be very disappointed and frustrated, as any marriage therapist with experience will start building your marriage with relationship and communication skills so that problem solving then becomes a joint exercise instead of aggravating the adversarial relationship. Should all the positive tools be in place, and in general the relationship is a good one, support from a marriage therapist may now be helpful to guide you through the issues that I'm now going to identify. These are common difficulties experienced in most marital relationships, and because we see things from our own perspective, which is mostly different from our partner's, conflict occurs. Please hear me again loud and clear. Do not attempt talking through these issues until you have clarified that you really value your spouse, that you want your relationship to work, that you are willing to wholeheartedly do your part in building the relationship unconditionally, and that you've listened to my talk for 1,000,000 times together and practiced communicating in the positive ways described. This final talk recommends that a couple routinely clean their relationship of damaging emotions and lingering pain. If this is not done, they are bound to drift apart. They are certain to lose the sense of connectedness that brought them together in the first place. Have your meaningful moments become buried under a mountain of resentment, frustration, bickering, and strife? Every move you or your spouse makes seems to bring up an issue that causes one or the other pain. We all have difficulties. We all have to deal with the frenetic pace of life. Hopefully this has slowed down as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. We run into the same struggles with anger, frustration, hurt feelings, and all the rest. In spite of this turmoil, couples can still connect. They can still share meaningful moments and enjoy each other's company. Sure, they have their meltdowns, they fight, but they don't hold onto their pain and resentment. They've learned to clear the decks and start fresh. How? 1. They regularly and routinely explore unfinished business. This business may have to do with unpaid bills, a question of how long the in-laws are staying for Christmas, whether the kids should be disciplined in a certain way, whether you're spending too much time away from the family when you golf, whether to have another baby, and whether you're overextended by external hobbies and other activities. 2. They regularly talk about money. Money matters are often a metaphor for other troubles in a marriage, troubles involving power, security, competence, and self-esteem. It is for this reason that talking about money is very difficult, and therefore vital to the monthly habit of ridding yourselves of harmful residue. Begin by getting out your bank statements and other records and making a monthly review of where the two of you stand. Thirdly, they regularly talk about their emotional needs. If you are feeling neglected, say so. If you're wanting to be admired, let him or her know. If you don't talk about your emotional needs, it can be nearly impossible for your spouse to meet them. But it is also important to acknowledge that it is impossible for your spouse to meet all of your emotional needs. Avoid the developing of a codependent relationship. Fourthly, talk about your anger. One of the most toxic forms of marital residue is anger, and every marriage has more than enough of it. Anger rears its head when a spouse feels attacked or shortchanged. So when it comes to ridding your marriage of harmful residue, you will want to give this emotion special attention. Understand that while it comes part and parcel with most marriages, anger should not be a long shot to be given free license. Anger requires limits and must be talked about routinely. The healthy handling of it begins with admitting you are or were angry. Most of us want to deny the presence of anger to control it, but that never works. Repressed anger has a high rate of resurrection. So own your anger without hiding it or projecting it onto your partner. Once you have admitted your anger, the next step is to release your vindictiveness, and this is not always easy. When we become angry, we feel that someone has hurt us, and we want to hurt them back. But we fool ourselves into believing that the only way to obtain satisfaction from being offended is to repay evil for evil. Once we become consumed by balancing the score, anger takes center stage in our marriage and is destined to do damage. Fifthly, we give each other freedom to fail. You and I don't have to be perfect people to have a great marriage. We are all human. We all make mistakes. Because of this very fact, we must give each other the freedom to fail. If you don't, you'll never rid yourselves of harmful residue. And when you are having a difficulty letting go of a hurtful mistake by your partner, it is time to consider the next piece of advice on forgiveness. Number 6, forgive when you feel hurt. We do need to forgive each other if for no other reason than because we are married. And no marriage, no matter how good, can survive without forgiveness. We are bound to get hurt. It's inevitable. Professor Lewis Smedes said, carrying rage and resentment against our partner does more harm to us than to them. That's why the first and often the only person to be healed by forgiveness is the person who does the forgiving. I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? These simple words offer a possible way out of the inevitable blame game that traps so many couples, and they are sure to release you from the harmful residue that would otherwise bog you down. Lastly, number 7, protect each other from hurry sickness. This step is preventative in nature. It'll help you keep harmful residue to a minimum in the months to come. Lockdown has helped in slowing us down. As we go back into the new normal, guard against overextending yourselves, only reacting to crises, continually tying up loose ends. The more hassled and frazzled you become, the more you are increasing the potential for problems between you, and the more you will bicker and fight. So in an attempt to keep harmful residue at a minimal in the months ahead, talk about what you can do together to slow down your pace. I trust these 5 talks have provided useful tips and motivation for growing your marital relationship. So whether your relationship is flying positively or floundering on the rocks, revolutionize this relationship by stepping out of the quiet routine of mediocrity and start intentionally doing these things. From professional and personal experience, I know they will enhance this most important relationship to the fullest. Remember, you may contact me on alexkeencounselor@gmail.com. Also note the aspects that I provide counseling or therapy for, and I'm available for online therapy sessions as indicated. I take the opportunity to wish you and your spouse a healthy and safe time ahead. To paraphrase David the psalmist, may God be our refuge and strength and ever-present help in times of trouble. Go well, and God bless.